Hello and welcome back to another episode of Bantz with Lawrencia on Lawrencia TV, a channel that celebrates ordinary people doing extraordinary things. So please subscribe, like, share, and also click on that notification bell to get notified anytime I post new content. Today's topic is inspired by a discussion I had a couple of weeks ago, and I came out of that discussion. I felt every emotions you could think of. I felt anger, I felt sadness, I felt empathy, I felt worried, you know. I had a conversation with an individual, we met at, public events. When you see your own people and you're trying to mingle and associate and be polite, because when some of them find out you're from their tribe and you're not really like being sociable with them, they take it personally. So I was trying to, be the social butterfly and all that. And it kind of went to little green flags here and there. And he was much older. So I was like, are you single? Because it kind of baffles me, because somebody of that, I don't want to say age, because age really has nothing to do with it. I mean, you can be any age, and Regina Daniels. So just to drop that, so I was like, are you single? And he said it's complicated. That was when my curiosity, listen, I like stories. So that was when it kind of interested me to know exactly what the complications is. Because if you hear it's complicated, listen, if you have time, sit down, listen to those stories. It is going to make your entire day, because people have weird things going on, in their lives. And so I was interested to know the complication of the story. So he kind of took me back to where it all started. He said he was in Nigeria and he came into this country over 13 years ago, and he was doing very fine in Nigeria according to him. He travels to different places to buy goods, China for instance, and he said he was comfortable. He said one of the things that happened was that some of his age mates who traveled, who were fortunate enough to have traveled, according to him, traveled to the UK, came back, and they were driving choice cars. They were decked up with designers. Their skin was popping. So he felt like he was not being successful, that these are his age mates and they are driving all these cars. They have women, from two hands. They could pick and choose whichever ladies they want. And here he said he was, hustling, he was doing fine, but just felt his peers were kind of ahead of him. So he said he approached one of them and wanted to ask how he could travel. So the person just told him, oh, you just need to come over. When you come over, we're going to put you through everything that you need to know and all that. And I think he didn't quite do his research, because I asked him, well, you could have traveled in different ways. And he said, well, he couldn't have traveled as a student because he did not finish his education. So there was no way he could have gone as a student. So he used a visitor's visa to travel. He said when he got to the UK, met some of those friends, that was when he realized that things, the grass is not always greener. He realizes that the picture that they painted was not actually the reality. And they down told him, you need to get your papers. So up until this point, I was feeling sorry for him because I was like, this is somebody that is in Nigeria doing fine, and some people sold him a made up dream that was not true. So they told him that you need to start to, the process of getting your documents. So he made inquiries and they told him the different ways he could go about it. And, this is where, you know, things got real. He decided that he was not going to pay all those amounts of money just to get the papers, and that he was going to find somebody, get married to the person, and then get his papers. So, but that was not the whole story. The intention was get married. Once the person have a child for him, he will now get his papers through the child. After the marriage, they settled in, family life, and my guy was shooting all the shots, shooting all the shots, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. And he said he sat down and he asked the wife, like, we're still waiting on God, but do we need to do any medical checkup? And by the way, she is white, so she was like, I told you I don't want children before we got married. I told you I do not want children. So apparently she told him that she doesn't want kids, but he felt mistakes can happen. He probably thought if he treats her right, and maybe she's just saying that because she's had bad experience before, so once he treats her right, she was going to have kids. Just to be clear, his plan was, instead of paying to get his documents, he decided to get married and then deceive this lady basically, and once she has a child, he was going to bail out and then live his life. But unfortunately for him, that didn't work. She was not ready to have kids. 7 years into the marriage, he was getting older, and he said he approached her and said, okay, let's adopt, because even through adoption he could be able to do that. And she said, nope, not even adoption, that she does not want anything to do with children. So he was kind of in a kind of fixed situation, and he said he went to a lawyer to seek legal counsel, because the one he did was kind of a 10 years route. So he was getting frustrated that he was getting older and the lady was not forthcoming, because if she had gotten pregnant, let's say 2 years, 1 year, 2 years into the marriage, it would have been easier for his plan, because once the child is born and registered in his name, he's able to use that to make application and get his documents sorted. So 7 years down the line, he was getting frustrated. At least he had 3 more years to go to get his papers, but he was getting impatient and frustrated. So he went to a lawyer, and the lawyer told him, well, because of the uniqueness of your situation, your stay is tied to her. So if you are leaving her, and now because they've changed the rules and lots of things, and because he came as a visitor, you have to go back to Nigeria. Even if anything is going to be sorted, is going to be sorted back in Nigeria. And he didn't want that to happen, so he decided to continue. But then, because of, I think there was kind of a separation during that time when he was trying to sort things out, so it kind of impacted on the timeline of the whole thing, according to him. And then he's now waiting. I think he said it's 1 year, remaining 1 year. So I was just sitting down thinking, oh, I felt sorry for him, because anybody that is in diaspora would, if you're not born here, would understand that one of the most difficult things that you have to go through is sorting out your documents, because without documentation you can't really do much. And so I really empathize with him based on that. And he looked like he had gone through a lot of challenges. He looked stressed. So I was sorry for him. I said, listen, I now asked his age. He told me his age. I mean, he was really way older than I thought. So I said, since and he said what he wants is just to have a child, that his mom, which is who is really old, is asking for grandchildren from him. And he just wants somebody to have a child for him. And I was like, well, you could go to Nigeria. I mean, it's not a good suggestion. I mean, a lot of people have their Oyibo wives here, and then they have their Nigerian wives. So I said, I mean, in your unique situation, since your wife is not willing to have children, she's not willing to adopt, and age is no longer on your side, you could actually go to Nigeria and get married to somebody, or pay a bride price. You're not really marrying, it's not like a legal marriage. You can pay bride price and then have children. And the reply he gave me was that one of the objective of coming to this country is to have his kids here. So if he's going back to Nigeria to have children, then he's not really following the what he initially wanted. So I said, well, because I was just looking for solutions for him, to be honest. I was just, at this point, I was feeling sorry. I was trying to look for solutions for him. So I said, well, what if you meet somebody here that that has children? Because at the end of the day, if you want kids and you're willing to adopt, then it doesn't really matter if you meet somebody with children and then you're able to build your life with with a single mother. So he said, oh, no. He said, he was like, no, he gave me example of a friend who married a single mother, and that, he's literally sleeping on the couch now, the marriage is not working. So he said that would not be an option. I was like, okay, so you could meet somebody that is of your age, that probably don't have kids, and you could adopt. I mean, listen, there are so many people that wants to adopt children. I mean, you could meet somebody that is in that state of mind. So he started saying, no, that he doesn't want that. He wants somebody. I think that was when the penny dropped, that he was actually propositioning me. I mean, that he wants somebody that they will live together, have children. I mean, I was like, excusez-moi, what do you take me for? That was when my pity turned to anger, because I said, what if you meet somebody that has, that they are okay and they are willing to, of your age, and, that has the same objective as you? Are you willing to leave the situation you are in to pursue that? And he said, that no, that he's not willing to do that, that he just wants somebody that understand his situation, understand the fact that he is married to a white lady, and he is committed in that relationship, pending when his documents comes out, and that person will be by the side having his kids. And I don't even know, what was he even trying to explain? Listen, it took me a couple of weeks to even digest this, and up till now I really don't get it. That he needs somebody that understands his situation, understand that he is married, understand that he cannot leave that situation, but is also willing to stay by him, have his kids, and he would visit at interval. I was like, what the the nerve, the nerve of you. Like, that was when I became angry, because I was like, you are not even trying to help yourself. The choices you made got you into this situation, and the choices you had were limited. Yes, you had limited choices to get your documents sorted, but the decision you took got you into this situation, and you keep making those decisions that will not even help your situation. You're thinking you're kind of smart. I mean, I don't want people to get this twisted. Let me just give you an example. When people come into this country, they have different ways, especially depending on how you come in. You have different ways to get your papers. We all know that. One of the most common way you could do that is to get married. Now, even with that choice, even making that choice, there are different options that you have. One of the options is to pay somebody, get married, get your papers. One option. Some people choose to go through that route. Some other people choose to find somebody that they genuinely like and get married for real. Some people choose that option. There are some other people who decide, okay, I'm not getting married. I'm just going to look for somebody to have my child, and then through that child, they get their papers. Some other people decide to pay for the papers, but then again, they want to get some benefits out of it, which means that, okay, you're paying somebody for that paper, but maybe the person looks, kind of a beautiful. It's not like this, the older, woman or man or woman. You now think, oh, I can actually dip my hands into this honey pot just to get some benefit out of it. Some people do that. Now, if you analyze people that have paper issues, they fall into two categories. Those that want to outsmart the system, meaning that these are doing all these things, you're trying to cut corners to do what you have to do. But then there are some people who know, and they think, I am too smart for even this cutting corners method. I can do this, I can do that, and outsmart everybody because I am that smart. Those are the kind of people that get into trouble. Or certain people that are afraid to make decisions. He falls under the category of the smart pants ones that think they are too smart. All the questions I was asking him was meant to jolt him back to reality, that okay, you've made this choice, that's fine. But there are certain decisions you could make now that would help your case along the line. All he kept telling me was he asked the lawyer, and the lawyer told him there's no way. I mean, if you want children, you can get children. But what he wants is to string two women along. Are we defined by our choices, or are we defined by the decisions that we make? I mean, in life, you could go through life, you have limited choices, or you kind of go through a drastic change, let's say traveling abroad, and once you get there, you have like limited choices of what you need to do. And yes, you have limited choices, but the decision you make with those limited choices would determines, it kind of shows the kind of person you are. Because I had to ask, I said, listen, if you're looking for another lady to have your children, do all these things, can you even finance what you're asking for? Can you even, finance what you're asking for? And he said, well, at the moment, monthly, sometimes his salary is not even able to cater for his immediate family monthly needs. So sometimes he had to use his credit card to balance up, and then the next month he pays back. So I was like, your situation now, you can't even comfortably afford that. And then you're trying to rope somebody's daughter into having children for you, and then you're not even going to be there to take care of those kids because you're tied up in this other situation. And he said, no, 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 that is just going to be for a while, because after he sort out that situation, then he will move on to this other situation. And I'm like, why don't you sort out this situation before looking for another situation? And he said, well, that he is getting old, so he needs to start now, to get this other situation going before he sort out this situation. Listen, I don't know how long he has been playing this smart game. Somebody probably has gone to Amadioha. Somebody has probably gone to Amadioha on his behalf and told Amadioha, you see this one? He has played with my emotions, he has played with my feelings, he has deceived me. I want you to deal with him for me. Karma is real. Sometimes if we're making choices, yes, we are limited to choices that we have, but the decisions that we make with those limited choices is what would define not just our character, but how we move forward with our lives. It takes a lot to work with limited choices and still choose to do the right thing. So think about the choices that you're making. No matter how limited you think the choices are, you can still do something. There are still better options from those choices. So look at the options and make sure that you're making the right decision. You're limited to your choices, but I think the decisions that you make actually tells a lot about your person. Let us do better with our choices. Let us do better with our decisions. Let us ensure that choices and decisions that we make does not impact negatively on people. And that concludes today's episode of Are We Defined by Our Choices, or are we defined by our decisions? So if this topic in any way resonates with you, please leave us comments at the comment section, or you can email us at admin@didilaurenctv.com. I am happy to hear stories. Listen, I like stories. I get excited when I hear stories. If you think this hits home, and if you think I'm talking about you, yes, you are the story I'm talking about. Thank you for watching today's episode of Are We Defined by Our Choices or Are We Defined by Our Decisions? Please subscribe, like, share, and also click on that notification bell to get notified anytime I post the content. So, see you next week, same time with another episode.